So I'm going to have
Okay.
you introduce yourself once again.
All right. To everyone out there, my name is William Rivers. I'm Romero's father. Uh, I'm married, have 6 kids. I did 26 years in the military. I'm retired now, and I work for Lockheed Martin in Japan, working on the F-35. All right.
All
Thank you,
right.
young man.
Thank you for introducing yourself for my adoring
No problem.
audience. So, to begin our questions,
Yes.
well, so you already know the dealio, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to inform you once again. This is for a class of mine, my media class. And yeah, I'm just going to be interviewing you, asking you 10 questions about how media has changed for you, really, and whatnot, just in your past, present, and what you think it's going to be like in the future, basically.
Okay.
So, my first question to you is, how different are all the radio stations you used to listen to when you were younger as opposed to now?
Don't know. Never listened to radio. Never heard of it. All right. Well, I think we talked about this before, and radio stations have changed a lot, of course, in a variety of radio stations. Um, Different genres of music that are played. Also, in the content that's played, meaning the verbal content, language wise. When I was growing up, definitely wouldn't be appropriate for me. Some of the songs wouldn't be appropriate for being played on radio. So I think that's a big change. A lot of profanity is used on the radio as it's just normal conversation. And part of that, I guess, is change. And you just have to accept that change. So I pretty much don't listen to radio. If anything, I'll listen to a streaming of a news station or something like that. But definitely, I just don't listen to radio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. For question two, so being one of many, many, many siblings, what was it like? What was it like sharing the television between your siblings as well as your parents?
Well, sharing was difficult. I would say all the way, basically until I left the house, till I was 18, um, because we only had one TV. Both my parents smoked, and if you wanted to watch TV, you had to sit in a smoke-filled room. So I would lay as low as on the ground as possible to avoid breathing in as little smoke as possible. Didn't really work too much, but that's just something we had to deal with growing up. And at the time, of course, you had no say so if you're watching TV with your parents. So whatever they watch, you're forced to watch. So even if you're not interested in it, well, if you want to watch TV, you just sit and watch this. Or you go play in your room, do something, entertain yourself, maybe play with some friends. As far as sharing the TV, that really wasn't too much of an issue. Now, we usually had set times based on the TV shows that we like, and luckily, not many of them ran into each other. So that wasn't too much of an issue. Um, since my siblings and I are somewhat close in age, we kind of watch a lot of the same things. Mostly when I was in middle school and high school, it was mostly cartoons and stuff like that in the afternoon. So yeah, it wasn't too much of a problem.
Okay. All right. So, and now for my third question. Were you ever
Yes,
picked on for like reading comic books when you were younger?
not once. Um,
Mm.
Comic books in my day was the thing to do because you bring up media. We didn't have a lot of TV stations. We didn't have a lot of cartoons on. Cartoons were only on Saturday, maybe a little on Sunday, and maybe for an hour, hour and a half after school during the weekdays. So comic books basically were an extension of the cartoon world to us at that time. So it was great actually. So no one actually picked on you. People admired you if you had a lot of comic books. You know, you know, they always wanted to borrow them. They always wanted to be your friend. so they could get more of your comic books. Everyone would have drawing contests based off of comic books. So comic books, when I was growing up, was definitely the thing to do and to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so for my next question, which will be the last of the questions I have to do with the past and whatnot,
Yes.
at which point did you decide to stay away from social media while you were in the military?
That happened in the year of 2007. I was working at NSA at the time, and I was working for what's called the red team and the blue team. I was in charge of the network room, the server room. We pretty much set up fake networks here and there to test out hacking on and this and that. Um, and sometimes we do have live targets. We did have live targets. And one day I was going into the one of the black rooms, and I noticed that these guys were like always on the internet, either playing games or on these websites surfing and doing this and that. And I went back and I talked to my chief, and I'm like, Chief, why aren't these guys ever working? Every time I go in there, they're like just playing around, surfing, and this and that. He says they're not playing around. What they're doing is creating hack websites. It's like hack websites, yeah. They're creating links that put trap back doors on people's computers and this like that, so they can get into them and do the things that they need to do. I said, for real? He said, yes. We even do that with government sites. We do mock government sites, and we do that with government personnel as well. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know that, because I kind of knew what the red and blue team did, but I just wasn't quite sure how they did it. And at that point, I had a different perspective on the internet and media, because he told me at that point, yeah, we've hacked Facebook a long time ago. We ever can get in anyone's site. There's no such thing as secrecy and privacy. You can't lock us out. That's all BS. Just let me tell you that. So he told me at that point, you might want to stay away from social media. So at that point I did. And I kind of encouraged some of my friends to do that without exactly telling them, hey, NSA can kind of do this, NSA can kind of do that, because I really couldn't tell anyone at the time. Now it's not a big secret. Everyone knows NSA hacks pretty much almost everything. So at that point, that was pretty much enough for me. I only use maybe Messenger now to stay in touch with family and friends when I'm away, just to send a quick message or something like that, or some other form of free messaging app. That's about it.